And it just feels like really a lot of effort into trying to shut down Xiaohu here. It is going to be Nautilus, very likely. Just save Xiaohu's pick for last. They almost always want to play through him. There are a lot of aggressive options still available on the top side. Things like Camille, if they want to play towards it, can be quite effective.
Of course, part of the power of Nautilus is the ability to lock down the Yuumi, but also the shield in the lane can actually reduce some of Yuumi's poke damage that can come down. Although we have seen bot lane has been left alone a lot over the course of Worlds, with supports roaming up and trying to influence the rest of the map.
Yeah.
There's the talent, it looks like, for River.
The pick is good, of course, with LeBlanc double assassin into things like TF and MF, but the problem is TF Ultimate just counters Talon so hard, so even in teamfights you can use TF Ultimate to shut him down. Talon Yuumi, of course, will be really strong. We saw T1 run it on the first day of groups, demolishing, I believe it was DFM with that combo. Owner getting his quadra kill stolen away, we'll say, but it looks like
Come on, it was Carrier getting his
Carrier triple kill stolen away, yeah.
Gwen.
And it's going to be Gwen to round out PSG's comp.
Okay, Gwen actually, Hanabi had a really nice game on Gwen already in group stage. I do think it's a pretty interesting pick. Now, I'm just wondering if Xiaohu's willing to go for some of these aggressive answers. Things like Jax can actually scale very effectively against the Gwen if you want to play sides.
Lucian,
I think
from Xiaohu too.
Lucian's banned out, but Ornn I think could actually work pretty well here too, because it's a very squishy comp. You don't necessarily need the damage. Camille plus TF, obviously a very common pairing, so they are just going to go for that. I do think Gwen has a better time in this matchup than you do against things like the Jax and the Fiora in some of the later stages of the game, but you're not going to be in the 1v1, you're in the 1v2.
Yeah, and Camille is just really good for RNG's comp as a whole, because the Nautilus will shut down LeBlanc, Camille will shut down LeBlanc, and when you have Jarvan diving in, you have a lot of follow-up with Camille to single out one target, and it gives you the side lane pressure to play for with TF, right? Just as you talked about. So both these comps, a lot of side lane pressure. I feel like we're saying this a lot at Worlds 2021. Side lanes are where it's at, whether you've got a mid that wants to roam or a mid that needs kill pressure in LeBlanc. Solo lanes are points of focus for both these teams. Of course, Nautilus into Yuumi to get a good stacking wave. You can look for some kind of dive. We'll have to see how Wei opts the path.
And it'll be really interesting to see how they play around the Talon, because you've got to be very cognizant of the different angles Talon can come from. It is easier playing as a red side top laner and avoiding some of those Talon ganks, unless Talon is actually going to go through the Baron pit to try to wrap around behind you. I do find that it's kind of more difficult playing on blue side against Talon, but we'll see if they can find any good gank paths.
Yeah, and taking the last two games into account, how does the group sit right now? RNG, of course, lost to Fnatic, who now has 1 win. PSG and Hanwha are tied at 2 wins. So if PSG beat RNG here, that's a huge hit to Hanwha and Fnatic.
Four-way ties still alive.
But if RNG beat PSG, then of course Fnatic's chances of getting it to the 3-way tie is a lot easier.
That's the thing. You have to look at it from the two ways. Like, PSG losing here means that Fnatic only need 1 win to match them. Hanwha Life would need the same. Interestingly, RNG, if they win this, are out. They make it into the quarterfinals. They either get first or second seed, because only Hanwha Life could match them at 4 wins.
And the LPL teams have been absolutely struggling in the second week. So, this is something that, yes, there's some of their teams are still making it out, but not having the similar levels of performances. And whether they're kind of getting figured out or just not playing up to par in this week 2, it's an important game for RNG.
Yeah, we saw, I think it was a stat I saw, the second round robin, the LPL is 1-7 in win-loss ratio right now in the second round robin.
And 0-5 against the West.
Yep.
Oh.
The gap is closed.
Best of 7 is 1.
Yeah, well, actually, the gap is getting larger, just in the other way.
The opposite direction. So it's a worrying trend for the LPL.
It is a worrying trend for the LPL.
All right, we got all of the legacy memes out.
Who's in Diamond 2?
Worrying trend.
Anyway, let's have a look at where the teams are starting off for this game. Line of scrimmage kind of established a control single ward in the tri-bush for PSG down towards this bottom side. They've also got a ward over this red pit, so they'll spot RNG as they go in here. No oracles yet on RNG, just the one sitting on Ming that's already been used.
They're going to late invade here and split the map bot side. River's playing with TP and Smite, of course. We saw him do the same kind of thing against Hanwha, but now splitting the map bot side means your bot lane can get the push, and RNG might stack waves for some kind of bot lane.
You can see the ward coming out as well by Xiaohu on towards that red buff, so they try and get a bit of a ras down. River will be very happy to take this top side of the jungle, but it really sets his bot lane a little bit on an island through this game.
Yeah, it does make it really dicey. There's always the potential when you're playing these types of lanes, that is a rough trade for Unified. Because Yuumi lanes can get dove very easily. If you get split map into these situations, Cryin moves bot with Wei, set up a 4v2 type dive, that can be very, very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, the good thing is PSG have triple TP. so they can cover that dive pretty handily. They can put 5 members down towards bot if RNG do commit 5 as well. So they can always match numbers because River has TP, but it looks like Wei is just gonna back off after taking red and a couple of the small raptors, I believe, took there.
One of the positive things, though, when you are splitting top here on the PSG side is that there's no flash on the top laners. It's both Ignite TP, and that can mean you are much more vulnerable to these jungle ganks. And Xiaohu has got to play this relatively far back. He knows that, but we'll see if they can find any sort of an angle with River here.
PSG playing a comp very similar to the one that they managed to beat Hanwha Life with on the first round of group stage. When they did that, we saw River TPing down towards the bottom lane to try and counter gank an early gank out of Hanwha Life.
They're going to TP bot. They're going to do the 4-man bot, I think. This is exactly what I was talking about. They're still level 1. They've denied enough experience here. We'll see if they can get level 2 prior, but...
There's the level 2 and there's the TP coming out.
That's Talon
River
TP.
comes across, yeah,
that's a very early TP from River. The good thing is his Krugs are up. If he spots them out, he should know that he has some camps to clear down here. He can also reset the Raptors, so he's +1 on camps with that TP, but it does mean that has been invested.
Probably going to get double scuttled from it, though.
Very interesting. It's looking like he still thinks that there's a play coming, you know, not actually starting up on that. Oh, it's because Cryin was missing, so I think he was worried that J4 might be in Tri-Brush with Cryin coming down, so he did decide to pull back, but it does mean, yeah, Wei can go topside, double scuttle, potentially even move towards the blue, you know, seeing that Talon did not have that. Kind of interesting. I honestly feel like I would have preferred if he waited on his TP a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Make Cryin commit his TP first because they kind of got that out for free. But of course, if you do wait, there is always the chance that you're a little bit late on it. So prioritizing trying to just defend the bot lane.
But they do have 3 combat summoners, right? Yuumi,
yeah, so who cares?
Exhaust, Cleanse. They could have baited it out for longer, but anyway, he doesn't. They don't. And now Wei is actually onto River's blue buff. He should know that Wei is up towards the top side because he ran through mid after taking bot crab. And it looks like it will be a camp advantage to Wei from the TP from River to defend bot, and he should be able to back off pretty handily.
You can see there were a couple of pings from PSG on towards where the Wolves would have been. River will now spot that this is gone. No flash, as you say, on the Talon, of course, running the TP smite. It's perhaps a little bit surprising to people who haven't seen it before. Now River a little bit surprised as well. Gold card coming in. There's the lockup and first blood to Wei.
Oh, that was like the anti-timing, man. He walked out and thought he had sussed it out somehow, but checks back up.
I wonder what he's even thinking about there. He should have realized that once his blue's gone, top crab's gone. What is he staying around
I think he's staying around because the wave is stacked for Hanabi. He was realizing that there might be a potential dive because Ming was missing. We can see Cryin was missing as well. So he was trying to actually stay up there, I think, potentially to defend his top laner, but didn't realize they were already in position to take him out.
The bait and switch. Stacking top waves, but killing the enemy jungle in his jungle while he's trying to cover. Perfect. We love to see it. And RNG off to a great start here, pushing in top, pushing in mid, getting like 4-man bases. GALA has a plate in bot already, a huge CS lead. Xiaohu's going to be able to save TP as well. So the map is in a fantastic state right now for RNG.
Yeah, they're already 1,000 gold ahead across the board, and you can see CS leads in pretty much every lane apart from mid.
And we saw this exact same thing in the Hanwha Life game where Hanwha were the ones making plays first, winning out in 3 lanes, and PSG just sat back and didn't really do anything at all. Yeah. They lost all neutrals, they lost plates, lost towers, and they weren't able to cross-map or force their own plays. This time around, they don't actually have that much force either, only really through mid that they could maybe look for something, but for now they haven't done anything.
Cryin has just hit level 6 as well. He's working his way down towards this bottom side. Good dodge to the side there by Unified, but Cryin will use these pockets of vision. You can see pushes in the wave mid lane, works down, puts a control ward in, and Unified and Kaiwing have to be so scared of the fact that the Destiny could come out and Wei could be there, and then it's a 4v2.
Exactly, and in this split map situation, they've been playing it so defensively. You know, they're already down 2+ full waves. You know, even after he picks up the farm, he was down 13 CS prior to that. And they know they still have no vision in this area of the map whatsoever. They have 1 ward in Tri-Brush, but you know, any time they don't know where Wei is, Cryin moves, they've got to respect that.
Yeah.
And PSG also gave TF over to Hanwha Life, and they struggled to make plays mainly because they probably think that if we make a play, TF's going to ult and deny the play from happening, right? Cryin has Ignite. If we try to collapse on Wei and we have vision on him, for example, as a 2v1, TF's going to arrive, similar to what happened in the Hanwha Life game. So PSG need to find something. Drake's already gone across to RNG. 1 minute on that Herald. I think that's when PSG might try to get their bot lane out of lane and try to find some kind of team fight.
You can see Maple very vocal there, perhaps coordinating the troops. Only the most experienced player on this team was in Worlds in 2013 with Gamania Bears. Wei looking for this steal, has the smite, gonna go in, steals it away, and River has to parkour his way out of there.
Nice. can't really enter his bot side jungle now, so who's going to be the loser of this play? It's going to be PSG's bot lane. Cryi's pushed in mid. Wei is level 6. The wave is going to be pushed in by GALA. I wonder how much time they have to do this, because Hanabi has TP and so does Maple. Maybe they can force it and look to back off, or just take a little bit of vision here. River, again, having to stay and cover his lanes.
They're going for it.
Yeah, we'll see if they actually want to commit. At the very least, they're trying to threaten it. And they are going to pop it. They are going to
go
for River.
That's so smart. River, no flash, no way out. And they knew he was waiting in the wings. Maple will TP in, but RNG, just a 5-head play from the mid laner there.
Yeah, they're reading River like a book. They stack waves over side lanes, and they're not actually targeting the side laner most of the time, well, all the time. They're just targeting River. No flash, of course, on the Talon. No walls to jump over in that lane. Ends up falling level 5 at 8 minutes on the Talon.
And I mean, you talked about how difficult it is actually playing Talon in teamfights with the TF ultimate revealing you during your ultimate. And now he's this far down. I mean, he's down a good 20 CS to Wei. Is going to be really tough, and this is just smart play, because if you dive Unified here at the tower, River is in position to actually reinforce, but the TF ultimate gets popped, they spot River on the side, and it's an easy kill there, plus they get the TP off Maple.
Yeah, that's the salt in the wound, isn't it? Maple has to invest TP. Cryi's ult will be up much sooner than that, so RNG will have so many options when the TF ultimate is up again. Xiaohu's been saving TP to match Hanabi the whole game, and here's the Herald we were talking about. Wei is going to spot it out already, and PSG's bot lane are still in lane. I wonder if they're going to run all the way up. Hanabi's investing the TP as well. They need to get an objective like this Herald to find some way into this early game. Maple has mid push. Wei might look for him.
Maple's going to walk across that control ward. The movement speed from Kaiwing will help Unified get here a little bit quicker in that Rift Tower, down to 3,500 health already. Ming on his way. Wei dodges away, and because of that, RNG will disengage.
Yeah, but let's look bot lane if we can, because GALA's just hitting the tower. PSG invested their bot lane to go top to get this Herald. Great, we've secured this objective. We can use it on a lane, but GALA's just been farming the tower. And yeah, unless PSG can find a good Herald angle, I think RNG are kind of winning out.
I mean, they're winning out by a lot. You get 2 solo gold plates onto him. You also deny 4, 5, 6 CS. You lose that experience, you lose that gold. GALA is going to be up in a lot of ways.
But this is the problem of being behind, right? If PSG were to drop that Herald and give it over to RNG with 3 pushing lanes, that's a tower, right? So the gold that you negate from the enemy team is what you kind of gain back, right? PSG, if they can Herald the tower, get 320 gold from 2 plates and call it quits, yes, they'll be down in XP and in individual gold and levels, but at least the gold is not as bad as RNG getting Herald and dropping it on that bot tower.
Absolutely, and you kind of have to overload one side of the map, because if you fight an even number fight and you're this far down, you're almost always going to lose. So they're forced into bringing their bot lane up to secure that Herald, but RNG has the easy answer and continues to cruise, nearly 3,000 ahead now.
You can see the difference, 1,000 gold in the mid lane for Cryin in his advantage. Of course, that kill will help him out alongside the assist, but plates and TF passive always come in so strong when you're able to get a sizable amount of early CS. PSG now looking down towards this bottom lane. Wei and Ming in a good position to try and fight this one, but River has to be careful because Cryin was working his way down towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, the worst thing is Hanabi has no TP and neither does Maple. River can cover, but Cryin can ult down and Xiaohu can TP, so it's a 5v3 at best, so Maple needs to make sure he's one step ahead of Cryin in case this play does happen, but RNG just control the whole bot side of the map right now.
And I'm just so concerned about the game state for Unified. You know, he's rushing towards Tabbies, he's down over 1,000 gold. It's already a mythic completed for GALA, and this is the buy here for Unified. It's going to be so long before you're relevant as far as the damage that you can put out.
And the problem is as well, you're playing into a player like GALA, who only in the last game we saw absolutely pop off on the Aphelios across the course of Worlds. Highest in damage a minute, highest in damage a minute difference, second in gold a minute as an AD carry. He is absolutely popping off, and he's so consistent when it comes towards the later portions of the game.
Yeah, and his whole team is there to facilitate him to get ahead, right? He can keep this bot push for the whole game. Xiaohu's saving TP, Cryin has a global, and Ming is always hovering around the lane, so as long as they keep GALA in the lane pushing non-stop and being able to threaten those tower plates, RNG are in a great spot, and this is bread and butter RNG, having a global mid to rely on in the mid to early to mid game to get advantages.
One positive thing at least,
Bullet time. Unified steps down towards the side of it. The plated steel caps helping her out quite a lot to survive that, but Wei is making a beeline for the bottom lane as GALA will force Unified off.
This is so brutal. Like, you just have to give up the wave, and it may just be the tower even going down because it's already down to 2 plates. River's trying to make a play topside, but nothing doing. Xiaohu's just going to back it off.
Weak side genius, just backs off. Like saying, GALA's gonna get this first tower. Herald will be invested by PSG on the top tower, but this is looking exactly like the Hanwha Life game. TF mid given over to Hanwha Life. Chovy just keeps roaming towards
Look at the bot diff in gold.
Yeah.
After he gets this tower, it's gonna be disgusting.
It's a horror.
Yep, and even with the Rift Tower charge, PSG aren't able to take that top lane tower. Currently sitting at 5,000 to 3.3. That's going to jump up to 5.5. That's 2,200 gold lead for GALA.
I mean, that would be a good team lead at this point in the game, 12 minutes in, and that's one lane. They have just constantly punished Unified. Really well played, start to finish here. You know, from RNG, they early game invade bot side, split the map every time. They're stacking the wave, and then Wei is down there to threaten the dive. Even if they don't make the dive happen, Unified has to show respect to it. He's backing off constantly. And they've showed a great game plan to actually just nullify most of the Yuumi's advantage, because Yuumi is playing under the tower and with no real recourse, start to finish.
Yeah, RNG have just controlled the whole bot side of the map, and I feel like PSG didn't really adapt from their loss against Hanwha, especially in draft and going up against Fnatic. You have to question if this strat's actually going to work at all, because they've not done anything in the early game against Hanwha, not done anything in the early game against RNG, and yes, this game isn't over, but you're giving the teams their most comfortable champions.
And GALA hasn't even completed his calling. He's up 2.3k or whatever. It's going to be like 2,700.
I was going to mention that, but it felt like overkill, you know? He's like, he's just got so much gold in his pocket.
He's already dead.
And now he can go top and take top plates as well. They've just swapped the lanes. Xiaohu still has TP. RNG are going to now play top side. Cryin has ult to cover them. It's just textbook stuff coming out from RNG, and PSG, no response.
RNG and funneling gold into the AD carry, name a better duo. We've seen it for the last 5 years or so. First with Uzi, now with GALA as he gets his 6th plate of the game.
And the interesting thing is, you know, in the LPL, it's been all about going topside, really, for Xiaohu.
Yep.
You almost kind of felt bad for GALA. It's like, I get to join this team, all the gold for me. I'm going to be the new Uzi. And they're like, we're going to play top this year. But, you know, in this game, they're showing their flexibility, showing that they can play, you know, multiple styles, and now looking for Maple here, potentially setting it up.
Maple jumps away as soon as he sees Wei coming around the corner. He will jump back in, looking for the chains onto Wei. He's going to land them, but Wei didn't tank up the tower, so he's fine just to walk out of it.
Yeah, just chunking down the mid lane tower. Hook.
Man, I want to see bot gold now. Cold is cashed.
Yeah, and Herald's spawning soon as well, so they can Herald mid.
Let's do predictions quickly.
GALA.
How much is the bot gold difference?
It's like 2.7,
2.7 K-Draw?
3K.
All right, I'm going to go 3.3 right now as we look for a fight in the mid lane. There's the curtain call coming out. Another tower goes down. Final chapter used, but Maple dodged out of it. Tower will fall. Ming almost falls as well, but Unified, unsurprisingly, a pair of plated boots doesn't really put your damage numbers up. 2,700 gold, the difference between the AD carry. So Azael was the closest.
We have a winner.
Yep.
We have a winner.
Then we take those. That's a dub. But, and now he's going to spend out. So, battle's kind of going to worse here. You know, PSG, you're at the point in the game where you want to contest the third dragon. And it's been really interesting because today it's been all about actually early stacking dragons. We've seen so much more of that. And that may be a bit of this kind of second round robin evolution that teams are going back towards dragon, trying to put that pressure on their opponents, not allowing them to buy time and play these slower scaling champs.
Yeah, and the only real tower that was scratched from RNG was the top one with Herald, and they're going to get the second one now, RNG, so they can start the pressure tier 2. Xiaohu has to be careful here a bit. He's going to dash away. River was on the way down. And the only real playmaking PSG have on the map is Talon Yuumi just joining hands, holding hands and finding picks on the map. But because RNG are just playing so textbook and so well around the winning lane, they set up vision for GALA. He pushes in. Well, River's not showing top side. Xiaohu, he's probably bought to be careful. So he goes off and farms his own grump, his own jungle, and RNG win out on the map.
Yeah, it really feels like PSG have never really been able to find a pick, find a possibility to get this talent anywhere near rolling. The Yuumi very much muted through this game, and because of the early dragon stacking, now RNG pull them into a team fight and say, hey, we got 2 items, you got half of one, let's see who wins this fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult, and this is one of the main weaknesses of playing comps that are very low on engage. If your opponents are superior laners, you don't really have a lot of ways to get into the game, because generally these types of compositions gain advantages by superior laning, by playing through sides, by being the first to an objective. Your opponents have to fight into you, and that kind of circumvents your weakness of not having any of that engage. But when you're this far down, there's just nothing going on here for PSG, and they just feel like they're bleeding out here for the second time today.
Yeah, 30 seconds on the Dragon as well. RNG now swap the bot side. They have Herald if they want to use it on bot or mid tier 2. PSG going to try to cross map here. Cryin doesn't have TP. TP coming in from River, I believe, just getting some tempo topside to make sure they can force down this tower while RNG traded off for a Drake. Cryin has stopwatch to buy time on the tower, but the tower is quite low.
And one thing PSG did well with this composition when they played against Hanwha Life was they constantly caught Chovy in a side lane. Chovy would push too far forward, they double TP behind him, and they managed to catch him out. But RNG are paying the respect you have to the ability of this composition to collapse. And Cryin just backs off and is like, oh, I'm on the weak side, I don't have teammates around me, and instead we're going to look for a play down towards the bottom lane. Hanabi trying to survive here, but with the exhaust going down, GALA will have the bullet time available as well. Hanabi tries to turn it around. GALA dies to the needlework! Oh, Hanabi!
Oh, my name is Gwen!
I am immune to death!
Oh my god, man, they really did not respect the Gwen damage there. You're both stacked up, getting hit by every snip, every tick of the ulti. Gwen is in the shroud, and GALA's just walking forward into it.
We have a new challenger approaching, maybe?
Where he's like, nah, mate, I'm good, fam, I'm not...
I'd love to see the replay, because I think Ming just exhausted, or GALA, sorry, just exhausted way too early, because Ming hits hook, gets the root, and then gets the ult knock-up while he's exhausted. So the exhaust runs out, and there's no ignite either, so the healing, snip.
Lined up for every single hit of the needlework and the snip. The insult to injury is the flash away when you're already dead there. Yeah. That's the kind of play that you need to get some foothold in this game, because now there's that potential, there's that inkling of, hey, maybe we can play sides. Yes, they're on soul point though, and that's the real concern is, okay, you got that kill there, you got the Zhonyas, but can you 5v5? Can you show up to this dragon and make something happen?
Yeah, Twice and Gwen also a level up. Now, this is PSG's bread and butter, playing over side lanes. River's going to find Xiaohu here.
River jumps forward, final chapter will be available. They look for the chase onto Xiaohu, remember? No ability to flash away, but Xiaohu can just use the hookshot wall dive.
So, PSG have found a win condition. It's Gwen over side. Maple has TP to match
Two
Cryin.
people walking into him and dying.
Yep. Yeah, they need to wait for RNG's mistakes, I guess, because as good as it is for PSG to get those 2 kills, RNG's now on Infernal Soul point, so 3 minutes, 40 seconds, you're guaranteed to have to 5v5. So if they can find some picks in the next couple minutes and get, you know, a little bit more gold onto this Talon or onto the Jhin to cap close the items a bit, then maybe they can contest 5v5. RNG's comp does have a lot of side lane, but that was a lot of maybes that I just used.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just a few.
The problem is sides, you can see them maybe winning because...
Oh, you use one too.
Exactly. It's the word of the day. Maple is actually relatively strong. Hanabi now is relatively strong. But both those champions aren't going to really be able to contest it as effectively in the 5v5. And you've got 3 minutes. It's not enough time, it feels like, to really buy yourself some space in this game unless they can get a pick prior to the dragon. It feels like that's really their only hope is you find another kill, you fight a 5v4 or something like that.
Yeah, and the Herald's running out, so Wei just pops in the lane. Everyone's like, guys, we have a Herald in bot. Let's all go bot. So now RNG is just 5-man sieging bot without pushing in mid. This is a big problem that RNG had in their playoffs games against LNG. They never pushed mid when they sieged bot tier 2s. What happened in the Tournament of Worlds? They sieged a bot tier 2. Maple got a quadra kill on Tryndamere. With no mid push, you're answering 5v5 on a siege. Can they get this bot tier 2? GALA should be able to walk up. And this time around, RNG will get away with it, going for it.
Joe going forward, there's your shadow assault towards the backline. Hanabi there, the final chapter coming out as well, and will the needlework be able to do enough work? Can't quite kill off Xiaohu. Hanabi goes forward, but he is shut down. The double for GALA, curtains open. But perhaps they're going to close just as quickly. Riptail charging in, Wei stepping forward, takes a couple of tower shots that he didn't quite need to. But this will be the inhibitor tower down in the bottom lane.
Oh, RNG loved their bot tier 2 dives. I was just talking about it. It was a big reason why they struggled against LNG, struggled against PSG last time around. Did get the win in the end. This time playing with fire a bit. If Hanabi got another kill there or two, I think he would have killed everyone with the Yuumi on top of him.
Yeah, that was actually really close, and we can see in the new Axe Effect replay here one more time. They're moving aggressively forward. Maple just kind of ushering Wei off on the side, and they just go straight in here with Xiaohu. But the Yuumi ult was so effective. The Gwen MF getting so much damage here too.
Gwen ult's just going through 3 members of RNG. And Hanabi does end up falling. Kaiwing falls shortly afterwards. Triple kill to GALA. And that was that.
That's really just kind of the gold difference in action there. Not able to get that final charge of the needlework off. If you get that through GALA, GALA maybe goes down, and as you say, you're fully stacked on Conqueror, the Riftmaker in action.
Yuumi.
We've all seen that self-healing. Those fights can look pretty ugly if you could survive a little bit longer.
Yeah, now Unified has no flash on the Jhin against a Jarvan Camille. 1 minute on the Infernal Soul point, so PSG are going to have to find a way into this Dragon Pit if they want to contest. Giving this up would probably mean game.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, Kedro, I don't think Unified is the person they'll be targeting. Like, he's got a Gale Force and a couple of long swords with a crit cloak. I think Hanabi is probably the one they're going to be jumping on in this fight as Maple looks to go forward. Ming will be chained up, but will be able to retreat. 45 seconds on the Infernal. TP available, as you say, but Xiaohu will not take it. Control ward cleared out by PSG. They know they've got to fight soon, and they know in 30 seconds RNG will be barreling towards that Infernal Soul.
Trying to find a way in. RNG have full vision on the river. Xiaohu's going to push the next mid wave, you'd expect. He needs to make sure he doesn't get caught out here on this ward.
Got no flash. And a hookshot wall dive across the wall. That tier 1 in the mid lane standing still for RNG means that this wave will push back pretty quickly towards the PSG side. RNG waiting in the bush. Final chapter coming out. There's the stopwatch, but GALA is down, shut down by Hanabi, and now Ming next on the menu. PSG pushing forward. RNG, they baited the trap, they set it up, but they were the ones caught out. They were prey, not predator, as PSG pushed forward. Wei Xiaohu down, Wei dives into the back line, but this could just be it. Wei in the middle of 5. PSG somehow turn it around against RNG.
Oh, RNG looks so split up. 3 members trying to make a pick. 1 dives away, and now all of a sudden PSG is this death ball. Will shut down RNG and gets 4 kills. They found a way back in this game. They found the Infernal Dragon to stop the soul. They won't get Baron, but that's a sign of life if I've ever seen one.
I mean, GALA and Ming showing no respect to PSG here. Look how split up they are. You've got members over to the side, you've got members clearing mid, and you're playing with no respect to the potential engage here. They go forward, GALA dies for free.
Yeah, Wei was the one to EQ away the second they even opted into the pick. Hanabi just showing so much strength with the Gwen. Yuumi on top of him. 3 members didn't opt to the fight. Like you said, everyone was just so split up. And RNG paid the price for it.
Really felt like RNG wanted that fight. From their positioning, they were like, okay, we all stand in the pick store, we can go for something, but putting your squishy AD carry in the middle of an entire enemy team doesn't seem like the best of ideas. Still though, a 3,500 gold lead for RNG. They are still on Soul Point. River can't quite make it over the wall. Very difficult to do that one. We've all messed up that blast cone, but PSG's showing a few signs of life in this game, and a lot of it off the back of Hanabi at 5-1-2.
They absolutely are, but you've also got to be a little bit critical of RNG. They're looking shaky in some of their decision-making in these fights. You talk about the risky play on the tier 2 tower. You look at how they set that up as well. You know, GALA is incredibly strong now.
Wait, caught out. Hanabi could just chase this one in. The bullet time coming in as well, and there's River down. But Gwen is immune. Gwen is immune, as you say. The final chapter coming out for the Roots. Currently a 1-for-1. Jungler for jungler on either side.
It's pretty big though for PSG because Xiaohu invested TP for this, and Hanabi still has it, so now he can start to pressure bot tier 1s and TP to Nash if RNG tried to force it. Yes, RNG have TP on TF. We'll see how they choose to put lane assignments in, but it's a 1-for-1 and a TP trade.
And honestly, when's the last time we've seen RNG trying to set up any sort of a pick with TF? They're just playing like death ball now. It feels like they've lost confidence in their ability to side lane. You're playing Camille TF, and you're walking around as a 5-man squad, not prepping your waves, not pushing in, and not really playing a very coordinated game in this last 5-10 minutes. RNG are still in a commanding position. They are still at Soul Point. But this game seemed like a done deal, and it is inching closer and closer here for PSG as you see items coming through.
Yeah, GA just picked up by River and Wei. Does he Q away, but then the Jhin W comes in to stop him in his tracks from downtown. Unified connects that one, but then River just gets shredded straight through. GALA's just melting him. Of course, Gwen is immune, so Hanabi's able to trade the 1-for-1. But now River has GA, so if he can buy more time in these fights, stopwatch on Hanabi and Maple too.
And Hanabi just got his Cosmic Drive, so he's already on 3 items. He is looking really strong, and to me, this 3rd item is when Gwen starts to really get out of control. You have so much CDR, the additional move speed allows you to stay up on those champions, get multiple rotations of spells out. Can be really tough in a side lane, and can actually teamfight pretty well here.
You start to move from a position where RNG had vision dominance to a position where PSG can contest them for these wards. Cryin currently pushing in the top lane, does have TP. Xiaohu down towards the bottom side does not. And actually PSG not going to match them for now. It looks like Hanabi is going to go and catch that top wave. No one going down towards the bottom lane as of yet.
Similar kind of signs to the last time these two teams faced, right? Instead of Hanabi getting the kills, Maple was the one to get the kills. PSG got a Nash. The game was all of a sudden close despite RNG being stronger in the early game and being more favored. RNG still, of course, up around 4,000 gold, and they do have side lanes constantly pushed out, but the problem is PSG can face check. How? Well, it's a Gwen with a Yuumi on top of her. Anyone's there in the bush, pops the immune, and they can walk straight past them, or they can walk away. They can actually contest vision, and RNG's only real way to stop it is hitting a hook or grouping as 5. But they want to play the side lanes right now for the map control.
Yep, they're back into the side lanes, into the 1-3-1, and GALA now getting some of these luxury items. Has the Hex Drinker here to help deal with the double AP solo lanes. The Talon really isn't a threat. Because he is so far behind, it's so much more about the LeBlanc and the Gwen.
And I actually think PSG have a lot of options if they start to spot them. You know, River can run bots with Hanabi and gank whoever's on side lane, and they can double TP to Nash. They can do the exact same thing with Maple if they want to go 3-man for these kind of plays. Look at what Cryin is doing. Yes, he's down here for the blue buff right now, but he can cover Xiaohu pretty easily, or he can take over bot if he wants to. You can shadow your side laner with your globals, with your TPs. Does PSG want to do the same thing with this triple TP they have? I feel like they should start to utilize it a bit more.
And one of the funny things when you're playing this sort of style, Yuumi can come along for the ride, right? It's almost like you have an extra one as well.
It's very difficult for RNG to gain total control of this game. They were very much in command of it for a long time, but now PSG fighting back, striking back. 2 items complete. Lord Dominic's on Unified. 3 items, as you say, on Hanabi. RNG going to set up around this Infernal Drake. 20 seconds on it. PSG are looking for the fight, fighting for their lives. Getting to 3 wins is so big for them in this group. Of course, Fnatic have to win out to get to 3. Hanwha needs to pick up a couple of wins as well to get there.
This fight will decide a lot. If PSG can get this dragon, they stall the game even longer. Hanabi's going to have to be the one to walk up first and face check. Maybe Maple can look for something over the side, but RNG have warded it off. They're relying on Cryin's rapid-fire cannon stuns right now to slow the fight down. Because if PSG can get onto the backline and get onto GALA...
cooldown now, though, for Hanabi. He can't really fight.
Immediately stunned, and the Drake is down, and there's the Inferno, and there's the knockup. Hanabi pops the stopwatch. River trying to disengage this fight, way low. Curtains open. Hanabi going to try and step forward. Maple stunned, locked up in the bullet time. The healing coming out just enough from Kaiwing to keep him alive, but there's the Inferno Soul over to RNG.
Yeah, and RNG have 2 sideways pushing into them. Look at top, look at bot. Xiaohu's going to catch that wave in bot. They need to start catching waves. They got the Infernal Dragon. There's not really much else for them to do here. PSG,
got TPs.
They're going to force it looks like, because of these side waves. Xiaohu has TP to match, though.
TP's invested, ward cleared out. Hanabi's going to start it up, needlework available. Unified doesn't have the curtain call. There's no final chapter on the Yuumi either, but this Baron down to 6,000 HP already. RNG looking for it. Wei has a blast cone. They're going to flip it, as you say. Wei, level 13, can jump into this pit any moment as the fight really begins down towards the bottom side. Hanabi healing up, dodges away from Xiaohu. Wei diving into the pit as well. Unified trying to get the roots off. Maple diving in from the side as Cryin locks in a gold card once again. Baron resets. Hanabi keeps it aggroed. PSG will have to disengage this, you have to feel. And they didn't really get too much out of RNG.
No, I mean, they get the TP off of Xiaohu, but it just felt like a bit of desperation. Now that they lost the soul, they felt they needed to get something back, something major. And they just kind of slow played the dragon fight a little bit too much. And once the Shroud is actually forced off Hanabi on the side from Cryin, he throws out the gold card. Shroud is used reactively.
Yep.
That is your team fight. You cannot walk forward as a Gwen without it.
And by the time that happened, the dragon was already dead. River was kind of standing in the pit wanting to contest, but Hanabi was just trying to find an angle to actually get into the fight in the first place. So a little bit of disconnect there from PSG. The force on the Nash, respectable, right? Try to get the Baron, but they don't flip it. They don't find the engage, and now they've just lost both TPs on their solo laners. Maple has no flash, and RNG can look to start this Baron whenever they want. They have the Infernal Soul. Dragon's not really on the cards anymore for 4 minutes, and they can just control the top side of the map. Yes, Xiaohu invested TP as well, so they have to be careful in 4v5s.
Also have to be really careful around GALA, generally PSG. 4 items on this MF, most gold in the game, 5,000 gold ahead of Unified. As River tries to chase down Wei, but Wei can just EQ across this wall. The Infernal Soul alongside a bullet time will absolutely tear you to shreds if it gets a couple of waves off.
Yeah, the game's gonna work in turns now. Xiaohu pushes in bot and can move mid, and now he can make it a 5v4, while Hanabi goes bot to catch the wave before he can push out, and then he'll be able to join, and Xiaohu will have to catch. So RNG will get a lot of control of the map right now, and PSG will lose all their vision towards Baron.
And it just feels like the only way in for PSG is you have to kill someone inside. You have to find some sort of a pick. Hanabi is your strongest member. He is actually significantly stronger than Xiaohu right now. Working towards a potential death cap, so he will have an incredible amount of burst. He has rank 3 of the ultimate. He is very powerful, but RNG are trying to play this out more slowly, trying to keep the sides pushed, and trying to choke PSG out.
PSG are just ignoring the bot waves. It was on their inhib for the last minute, and RNG looks like it's going to be a stare down.
Fight.
Ming lands the hook, River going in, trying to get the damage down, and Hanabi's so low already, puts down the Hanabi, but he's shut down by Xiaohu. And you have to feel that's it, the Destiny coming onto the backline, and already Xiaohu gets a second of the fight. Maple with the chains, but Cryin with the chase. Gold card locked in, Maple pops a stopwatch of his own, but all he will be seeing is the fountain once again. RNG with 3 kills, and they're pushing down mid.
Yeah, they have a mid wave. River will base with Kaiwing. Wei's looking for them to try and stop it, but they don't have any wave clear with the Talon Yuumi. They have to walk up to be able to do so. I wonder if RNG can push in and end here. They have a lot of tower damage with GALA and Xiaohu. Still 35 seconds on Maple. That might be it, Adele.
Yeah, I think it will be. It's going to be pretty difficult here for River to get anything done. Doesn't even have the ulti, and they're going to get another kill.
Oh, the bullet time into flash, gold card. I mean, it gets River into the GA, but immediately he goes pop afterwards. RNG, with a little stumble in the mid-game, still come out on top and will lock their spot in the quarterfinals.
A lot of ups and downs there in the game from RNG. I have to admit, a lot of mistakes. You have to say, especially that bot play when Hanabi gets the 2 kills to start rolling, but they were in control all game long. Just a few moments where you questioned, you know, if that dragon got taken away by River, how much time if PSG had another 5 minutes to play with.
And honestly, PSG on the other side, you've got to look at how they seem to be struggling today.
Yeah.
They're really finding a difficult time actually finding fights, starting fights. They're not drafting for very much engaged. They're being very defensive in the early games, and they seem to be kind of just bleeding out, both against Hanwha as well as here. You know, they started this week 2-1. They've only really got that 1 game left to try to turn it around.
I mean, on current form, you're looking at a 3-way tie at 2-4, very possibly. Hanwha Life don't look better than RNG. Fnatic Hanwha is a bit closer, obviously, but Fnatic, I mean, even if Fnatic, oh yeah,
Fnatic 3-0, they're straight through, right? I think the Hanwha Life Fnatic game
depends on the other games.
Yeah, depends on Hanwha RNG, if I have that correct in my head.